This episode of Maverick in the Machine is brought to you by Jones Plantation Film. If you haven't seen the indie, soon-to-be cult classic Jones Plantation film yet, go watch that film. It's available now at jonesplantationfilm.com. That's jonesplantationfilm.com and on most major streaming platforms.
Bo Jones!
Also, my new film, Barnum World, is out now. And per the Indiegogo campaign we did, it's available everywhere for free. So you can find that at my YouTube channel at Drew Media TV, my Rumble channel. All my channels are basically Drew Media, and there'll be more platforms coming soon. Now, let's start this episode of Maverick in the Machine.
Insanity is what I call society. Don't tell me what to do, don't tell me how to be. I don't trust the government, I know they lie to me. They can like my body, yo, for my soul and mind to free.
All right, so this is going to be a fun one. Are you there? Yeah,
I'm here.
Everybody's.
Hey, what's up, Drew?
What's up, brother? Thanks for coming on. I got Flat Earth
Thanks.
Dave. So if you're wondering what he stands for, that's his thing.
I kind of make it simple with the name. I make it very, very simple.
And if you have a problem with this, then seriously, I'm excited to talk to the guy. I want to hear what he has to say. And most of the things that we're told in this world are complete lies. So I think the world's a ball. I think it's a ball, but
Yeah,
I'm open-minded. So what's going on, brother?
Yeah, open-minded is all that matters because I have a closed mind. Then there's no sense of even talking to anybody. And when I heard about Flat Earth, I thought it was the most ridiculous thing ever. I was doing a podcast called Deep Inside the Rabbit Hole. We were looking into Boston, Sandy School in Connecticut, the day after September 10th. All of this stuff, exposing all this stuff. And then people started sending me Flat Earth stuff. And I said, you're an idiot. Banned for life. I just banned people. I wouldn't watch a 1-minute video. But then my good friend, Sophia Smallstorm, she's like, Dave, I think the earth is flat. You got to watch this. I didn't go in with an open mind. I went in to debunk Flat Earth and prove the globe. And that's how you become a flat earther, when you actually look, right? You just said you believe the earth is a globe. Can I ask you, I'm going to ask you 3 questions. And by the way, I got all 3 wrong when I was asked early on. So if you get all 3 wrong, we tie. All right. What's the circumference of the earth at the equator?
No,
how far is it from the sun?
I have no idea. I just know that I look
How
at the
big is the
moon's
sun?
round. And why?
Yeah. Well, I look at the lights on my ceiling; they're round.
But I'm saying, like, I can see the moon is round, so I assume that we're round.
I can see the lights on my ceiling are round. I'm not. The Earth isn't a light, and it's not.
Why
in the sky.
Why
The
does
moon
this
is a
matter?
light,
Why
and
is
it's
it
in the sky.
important that we know that?
Can we hold that off until a little bit later? Let's look at some of the evidence, and then we'll talk about why it matters, because this is the most important thing about freeing the human mind. And the globe is a prison for your mind. But it's better if we talk about some of the other things, and then we'll finish up with that question, because that is the most important question. It's my favorite question. I'm not trying to avoid it.
That's something that people should stick around for. That's very important. Why does it matter?
Yeah, it matters. Everyone has in their mind, people are saying, what difference does it make? I still have to go to work on Monday. That's what we've all been programmed to say. I said it. Well, now my life is completely different. I had my own business. I was making more money than I ever thought I'd make. I had a lot of free time. I can kind of make my own schedule and stuff. And I walked away from all of that to do this. Why? Because it's an important message. Just like, any real truth teller out there, they sacrifice a lot to send the message out, because we're trying to free humanity from the enslavement system that we're in.
So why you can't run away from that? So why is this flat Earth thing? Why does it have to do with the enslavement system that we live in? Why is this so connected?
All right, we can just go there if you want. So we live in a world, and they want us to believe that everything is physical. There's no spiritual. The real globe defenders are 99% of them are atheists. Mm-hmm. And I used to be an atheist. I used to be an atheist because that's, I believed in science. I thought astrology was the dumbest thing ever. Astronomy was the truth and the Big Bang. And I evolved from pond scum. And then I actually looked into it, and I realized none of that's true. The opposite is true. And as you just said earlier, they lie about so many things. They lie about everything. The William Casey from the CIA, and I think it was in the 60s or 70s, said once everything the American people believe is false, our job is done. And I, back in 20, 30 years ago, or whatever that was, I'd be like, not everything. It is everything. It's everything. And just how we got together, I watched your new movie, Barnum World. Awesome movie. Everybody needs to watch it. and it's great. I love it. It's fantastic.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. So
Good.
getting back to this, we are not, they want us to believe that once upon a time there was nothing. It exploded and became everything. And then all of the matter turned into balls and all of the gases defied natural law and they collapsed in a space vacuum rather than expanding and filling the available space and created suns and everything. And then lightning struck and an amoeba happened and it turned into a fish and it grew legs. And then that sexy fish climbed out of the pond and found another sexy fish and had a monkey and the monkey turned into a human. That's what they want you to believe in a nutshell. They want you to believe that you're insignificant, that we're in an expanding universe. You know, in the heliocentric model, the universe space is expanding at like 1 billion miles a minute or a day or whatever it is. It's something ridiculous. What's it expanding into? Space is expanding into what? Again, can somebody help me? It's stuff that melts your mind and people just shut off and go, well, you know, a guy in a lab coat with a pocket protector, he told me, and therefore it must be true. So they want you to believe that you're insignificant. They want to dilute creation. They want to hide your divinity. They want to hide your power. They don't want you to know that we are connected in this toroidal system. I'll show you that in a moment. And we are these incredible, spiritual, powerful beings. And what they do is they literally disconnect you. They say, no, you're on a sphere, and that's it. There's a limit. There's nothing else. Well, maybe there's more land. Maybe there's other worlds here on flat Earth. We can get into that. And there's lots of evidence for that. But again, to prove the Earth is not a ball, we can prove all of that without leaving our yard, without leaving our town. We can measure it. The world measures flat. Large bodies of water need containment. They all lie flat. There is no curvature. If you looked at a lake a mile across and there's no wind, there's no waves, that water's flat, right? It's level. Water always seeks its level at rest. Well, if I put another lake and another lake and another lake and lined them up, when does it start curving? It doesn't, right? A 10-mile lake, right? Just a 10-mile lake. That's a small lake. That's not that big, right? A 10-mile lake should have 66 feet of curvature. 66 feet of curvature.
Why would it have 60? Listen, by the way, just so you understand, I am not going to be able to disprove anything you say because I'm just some dumbass who. I'm
That's
not a
okay.
scientist,
We're all
dumbasses,
dumbasses,
but I'm listening.
You don't need to be a scientist. Every ball, including this one, has curvature, right? They say the Earth is 24,901 miles around. So as you're standing on top of the Earth, from your point of view, you're always on the top. A tangent line from your feet out would start dropping off faster and faster because the Earth would curve away, right? So in just 10 miles, there's 66 feet of drop. So if you and I were outside and you duck behind a hill, could I see you? The answer is no. You're hiding behind a physical hill. Well, the Earth is like a physical hill, but we can see things beyond that distance, right? And another thing is we can shoot, like here's one thing, and we have visual things. There's a thing called the LoRa transmission, right? And this was done from a boat to a tower, and a buoy on a tower, right? And not a high, and it went 800 miles. At 10 miles, it should fail because it has to have line of sight, but there's a hill 6 stories tall in between them, and this was only 10, 20, 30 feet off the ocean. So at 10 miles, at 800 miles, there's 80 miles of curvature, 80 plus miles, 80 miles of Earth curve. So it would have to be transmitting through the Earth, and these microwaves cannot go through. They need line of sight. But so this is proof right here. But if that's not good because you're like, well, I can't really see that, what's something I can see? Well, here's an oil rig, and I'm just going to pause this. 2 oil rigs. And this camera is 8 feet off the ground on a tripod. And I think this one's 10 miles away and this one's 16 miles away. I forget the exact numbers, but I can actually look those up. And the horizon should be at like 4 miles, right? So we shouldn't be able to see the water. Not only can we see the water here, we can see the water here, and we can see the water beyond it. So there's 2 options. 1, Earth is flat, or 2, the Earth is 1,000 times bigger than they're telling us.
Okay, so what would somebody like Larkin Rose say in that argument? What would his argument be?
Well, I don't know, because Larkin Rose 5 years ago and by the way, first, Larkin probably hates me, but I love his work. I don't like his flat earth attitude, because he's a man about speech and everything, but he makes this video, 5 reasons, the 5 proofs that you can prove the earth is a globe, and he turns off the comments. You can't comment. He goes, no flat earther can answer these, and then he turns off the comments. And he will not let you comment on it. He'll argue with you on a Facebook thread, but he will not come on to a podcast and have a civil discussion like you and I are having, right? So I spoke at Anarchapulco for the last 2 years, and 2 years ago, Larkin was speaking there, and I designed my entire presentation around his 5 points, clearly explaining each one of, not just going, nah, I clearly explained his misconception. Like, he's like, when the sun's close to you, it's big like this. When it's far away, it's small, right? I completely, I made my my presentation all about that. At Anarchapulco, there's 50 speakers, including Larkin. All of them, except Larkin, think the Earth is not a globe. Weird, right? And I had the highest attended presentation, and guess who's the only person that didn't show up? Larkin sat in the driveway talking to a couple fans and didn't even come and watch my presentation. So I can't comment on his video. He will not come on a podcast, and he did not watch my presentation. It's kind of weird, but you know what? I still love the guy.
I don't know anything about it. I would love to get you two on this show, and maybe you guys could debate. That would be wonderful.
I'd be happy. I don't want to have a debate. I want to have a discussion.
Yeah.
Debates are pointless because I want to like talk about, like, people say, no one can explain the sunset. Remember, this horizon should be way, way, way in front of this thing, right? But people don't want to. People like Larkin just don't want to have that discussion. Let me show you. This is a little easier.
Okay.
Here's an 8-mile canal.
Okay.
Remember, large bodies of water at rest, they lie flat. When it's cold, they freeze flat. So here is a lake. It's frozen, and we got a camera on the lake 6 inches off of the ice. Now, there's a whole video on this showing that we moved the snow away. We showed that we're literally 6 inches off. And we placed these lights, 4 lights, right? 4 different colored lights at 8 miles, 7 miles, 6 miles, and 5 miles. Now, that doesn't seem far to somebody that doesn't know the globe model. But at 8 miles, even adding magical refraction, because they always say, oh, well, it's supposed to be 30 feet below the curve, but it's refracting up 30 feet. We added like 50% refraction, which is ridiculous. This should be like 45 feet, okay? There should be 30 feet below the curve, right? So if this, you can see this on top, but here you can't see it because it's below the curve, right? You have a physical curve. On the ball, the horizon should be, this light should be more than 30 feet below, 22, 15, and 9 feet below. But for some reason, they all show up right on this plain line here. And so we have 2 explanations. Camera's on the ice, and it's just looking at the balls across the flat ice, and everything tells us ice freezes flat. Or the camera is 6 inches off the globe at 0.88 miles away, less than a mile away. That's where the horizon would be. And so it's this tangent point. These lights are refracting up the perfect amount, all different amounts, to stop at the tangent. Not go higher, not go lower, but they all magically stop right here where this camera can see it. So if you want to claim refraction, there's no humidity, it's cold, it's dark, and this one's refracting up 9 feet, 12 feet, 18 feet, and 30 feet, or whatever the numbers were, right? They're all refracting up and stop. Which one of those is insane, and which one of those is, makes logical sense?
Okay, what about the thing they just did, Candace Owens did? They basically were...
Yeah. So that was called that was a bit of neuro-linguistic programming, the final experiment. So you store that, this is an experiment and it's final. It says if the sun does this, then that. If the sun does that, then this. Then you go, okay. And so now you're focusing on a false dichotomy, right? Because if there's lots of different, I don't want to just blow your mind with, how the sun works on a flat earth, but we don't know. We don't know. We have a bunch of different theories on how the sun works, and they all make sense and work within physics. But the globe model says that the sun is made of helium and hydrogen, You ever have a balloon filled with helium or hydrogen? It goes up, right? Helium and hydrogen defy gravity, but the sun is 99% helium and hydrogen. And helium and hydrogen and any gas will fill the available space, but in space it collapses and becomes a thermonuclear furnace star that burns 640 billion tons an hour or a minute or something for billions of years and never gets any smaller and has gravity that holds on to Pluto but ignores our moon as our moon comes around the Earth towards the sun and away. It doesn't speed up and slow down, right? You have to believe in a Narnia object. So the motion of that light in the sky tells us how much we understand the sky. I'm not a sky earther. I'm a flat earther, right? I don't know how the sky works, but I do know in the inner north that if we look here, here's my app. The sky is a giant clock. It's a 24-hour clock. Wherever the sun is, it's noon. Here, I'll stop the clock. And it's around 2 o'clock for me. I'm on the East Coast right here, so the sun's just like 2 time zones past. It's almost morning in Australia. I can wait until the sun gets all the way over here, and I can call my friend over in Sydney and say, what time is it and where's the sun? He goes, well, it's noon, and the sun's a little bit off my zenith, right? But in December, the sun will be out here on this yellow line, and it'll go right over him. So I've done it. I was on a show in Johannesburg last June, and I noticed where he was trying to tell me where he was. I was looking on the friend finder on here, and I was like, hey, where's the sun? He's like, it's right above me, and it's noon. And I was like, of course it is. So that's how the sun moves around on the flat Earth. The sun goes around once a day, 24 hours in a day. It laps the moon once every 28 or 29 days. So the moon's position and its phase are dictated by its relationship to the sun. So the moon keeps track of the months or the moons. There used to be 13 moons of 28 days. The sun keeps track of the hours and the days. And if I slow it down and I put the stars on, the stars go slightly faster than the sun, and they take 365 times around to lap the sun. So the sun will drift back through each zodiac for about a month, and then it'll reset next July right here. So that's how the stars keep track of the seasons and the years, right? Here's the thing. I know I'm kind of fire hosing you a little bit.
Hosing for sure.
We'll slow it down, and then you can hit me up with some basic questions. It's easy to believe. Belief takes no effort, right? I'm in Connecticut. You now have a belief. You're done. You go smoke a joint, take a nap. Doesn't matter, right? Because you believe I'm in Connecticut. You're like, why would he lie? I don't really care. And you're going to store that as probably true, right? Would you bet your life on it? Probably not. But you'd say, you know what? He's got a little bit of a New York accent, and New York's right next to Connecticut. You're kind of sorting it out. You go on my Facebook. You take a little time. You're like, oh, look, he is in Connecticut. I see this. And, and you could either just believe, takes zero effort, or you can investigate, spend time and energy and critical thought, which people don't like to do these days, and then verify things. And I tell people, don't believe anything I say. Go verify it. And that's why I created this app. It bypasses all the YouTube censorship.
What is your app? Make sure people can find it.
The app is called the Flat Earth Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app. Just go to flatearthdave.com. It's only right now available on Android and iOS, iPads and iPhones. It's a $3 app. There is a subscription for some of the higher features, which you don't have to get. It's $11 a year. But if you use the app, you might want to do that. But the app has, what I tell people is, I have a Bitcoin challenge, 3 Bitcoins for 1 globe proof. But before you waste my time, you have to watch the daily video every day. There's a daily video right here that YouTube won't show you, and watch it every day for 2 weeks. At the end of that 2 weeks, click the question mark button right here, and up come the frequently asked questions, which are, where does the sun go? Why the lie? Great videos in there, mind-blowing. Maps, the International Space Station, what about tsunamis and all of this? Time zones, amazing. Right? Antarctica and the 24-hour sun. It's all in there. These are all these videos are being hidden from you by Google. Okay. FlatEarthDave.com. That's where you can find everything. If you're interested in booking me for a show, book Dave, the whole thing. And also just last thing before we go into something else, the app has a dating site on it. So if I click that, this opens up. It says, all right, I'm a male. I have myself set to 1 year old because I'm not available. I'm looking for females in this age group within 150 miles. I could say search because it's hard finding like-minded people when you're a truther. And so here is Christine. Oh my God, she's in my hometown. Look at that.
So it's a dating app.
Maybe it's
Are you single, Dave? Are you looking for some?
No, I'm married. I'm married. That's why I put myself at 1 year old, so I don't show up in anyone else's search. I'm just showing you, and it's bringing people together because listen, when you're a truther, you come out, you meet a normie. It's like it's difficult. Like they're full. Oh, I got my booster. Are you all boosted? It's like game over. So all of these people are awake and aware. And it's just a great way to meet people. That's all.
What if you're wrong? What if it is round?
Well, if it's round, I'll eat my hat.
Okay, but what is the argument against it? Like,
well, the argument is there is no curvature. The Earth is required to have curvature. We have test after test after test.
So that's your argument. There's no curvature. What is the argument for the round earners? What do they say? Like, what does Larkin? Larkin's not a dumb guy. What does he say? Because he's pissed off about it.
He's super pissed off about it, but he won't have an intelligent conversation about it. I was pissed off about it until people straightened me out. They're like, there's no way that the sun would set. One of his arguments is, if the sun's over New York, then it's over California, then it's over Hawaii. And he says flat earthers claim the sun is 3,000 miles high. I don't claim that, but he says that it would never set. I agree with him on that, but he's wrong on how we see the sun. That's one of my specialties. Okay. In the app on the Where Does the Sun Go, I've got a whole bunch of videos on how the sun sets, how we see it. And if you just watch these first four videos, then you'll be like, oh, now I get it. It doesn't even make sense on a globe Earth. On a globe Earth, the sun doesn't even set properly.
What's the argument in a couple sentences?
Well, let me get back here. Where is it? Sunset. Like one of the arguments is, let's say you're on the top of a mountain and you're on top of the whatever mountain, you got a house up there and the sun sets. Well, at one point before the sun sets, the sun should be lower. It should be lower than you, right? This is not what I want to show you right now. I'm just trying to find the other thing. Where is it?
You made these videos.
Yeah, these are all the one that's showing you right here while I'm looking for is showing a time lapse with a solar filter of the sun going away, because they always say if the Earth was flat, the sun would get smaller, and it all depends on the atmospheric conditions, but it does get smaller. Here it is, 20 minutes earlier, and later it's getting smaller. But that's not. I don't even think that's a good argument. There's way, way, way better arguments than that.
Looks like a legit video.
It is.
It looks like you did some legit work on your website.
Oh, we've done lots of work, right? And so look at this. This is a real sunset. This is a coin on a table. Now, the argument that the Globers will say is, well, the camera is slightly below the level of the table, and absolutely it is. Okay, but this horizon is not at your eye level. It appears to be at your eye level, but it's actually thousands of feet above your eye level.
So what are you proving there?
I'm proving that you think the sun is setting below a Earth curve, or Earth horizon, but it's really going behind something that is thousands of feet above your above what you think is eye level. Let me show you. Where is it?
It's going to be a very video intensive show.
It
is.
Have
to watch the show.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm sorry. If you're listening, you're probably going to watch.
Audio?
No, it'll be on YouTube we are an audio podcast too. But they're gonna have to watch this because.
Yeah, this is one of those things that you do need some audio. I mean, if we were doing I could talk about this stuff and not show this, but we're on video, so here's a building in New York City. We're looking up at this building, and it's noon, and now it's going out 12:30, 1 o'clock. We're looking straight up. Okay. So is that sun below the horizon or just beyond the building? Easy. Beyond the building. Right? If I walked across the street, I might have a better angle and I'd be able to see over the building. Or if I went up on a balloon, I'd be able to see the sun again high in the sky.
Yes.
Agreed? It's only 1 o'clock in the afternoon. All right. So this isn't hard, by the way. This is really easy. So remember how we're taught perspective, everything curve comes in from the top and bottom and the sides and goes to the vanishing point. So here's a perspective grid. And here's our guy, and this is his eye level. I'm going to throw this mountain in here. We got the sun above the mountain. Let's say this mountain is 3,000 feet above his eyes. Okay. You with me? Okay. And so the sun's in the sky, and it's just going to go away. Now, just like it did with the building, it's just going beyond the mountain. If he went up, he could look over the mountain and see the sun again, right? Okay. Or he could go backwards. Let's make him backwards 20 miles. And there's the sun again. Now, this line here is still the top of the mountain.
So their thing is that to prove that it's round is that stuff disappears around the corner, basically, is what you're saying.
They think that it's going below the Earth horizon, but let me show you. This, to him, he doesn't even know this is a mountain anymore because it's at his eye level, right? In just 20, 30, 40, 50 miles, you can't see mountains anymore. They become flat. And the fact that you can still see the top of them, there's too much curvature where you wouldn't be able to see it. So the sun just goes away again. Now, this is not the Earth curve. This is a mountain 3,000 feet higher than him. And if we add the clouds in here, the clouds are coming and merging due to perspective into this line. So as the sun goes away, it's going beyond this line, this atmospheric and Earth horizon, which is like 20,000 feet above his eye line. But it looks like it's
okay.
Earth
So
curve.
what are we living on? If it's not a round ball, what is this?
We're living on a plane.
Okay.
A plane. And if you're a biblical person, it's the Bible has like 200 verses talking about a stationary plane.
Where does that
So
say? Give me some biblical.
Page 1 of the Bible, Genesis, God separated the waters from the waters, and created the firmament. The firmament is the dome that holds the waters away from the waters below. As above, so below. And so we're living in like a snow globe bubble domed world. Yeah, well, we don't know what it's made out of because we're not allowed to go there.
What do you mean we're not allowed to go?
So
what do you mean? Why aren't we allowed to?
Well, so there's the thing called the Antarctic Treaty.
Okay, yeah,
right.
Yeah.
And so all the countries in the world
that hate each other
fighting,
and fight constantly have this deal where nobody can go to Antarctica. Yeah, it's retarded. You tell me that.
And everyone has to become a human pincushion, right?
Well, tell me more.
Everyone
tell me more about that.
Yeah. They all agree about the I don't want to say the word because this is going to go on YouTube eventually. The thing that happened in 2020 where everyone became a human pincushion.
Yeah.
Right.
World War COVID.
Yeah. And So they all agree on that. And they all agree that nobody can independently explore Antarctica. Right. So the Antarctic Treaty has 8. Whoops, I'm not showing you that. Let me pull that back up. Sorry.
This is going to get canned on YouTube, but what it is.
No, we're good. We're good so far. We're
Okay.
good. We haven't said anything. Just careful with the words, right? So there's all of these bases that are around here. Remember the Falkland Island War, right? That was right here, right? Why do we care? These are all military bases to protect people from going to the outer land, right? These are all bases that will not let any independent travel go to Antarctica. So what is it? This line is 60 degrees south. No one is allowed to independently explore beyond there. So what's out here ready? The outer space. What's out here? What if there's another pond? Our world is contained by the shoreline of Antarctica. Antarctica is the highest land on Earth, right? Antarctica, if you compare it to all the other nations, the average height of Antarctica is over double number 2.
Okay.
So a pond needs the sides of a pond to contain the water, right? If you lowered the side of the pond, the water is going to flow away. So how do you stick water to a spinning ball in a space vacuum? Right? You ever put water in a vacuum? It boils. How do you have air stuck to a globe and not filling the vacuum of space? It defies natural law. It's a lot to think about. Here's the thing. You've never thought about this.
I may have.
Because you were brainwashed. No, you were brainwashed into not thinking about it, into writing it off. Earth is a globe. Eratosthenes figured it out 2,000 years ago. That's all a complete and total nonsense. Admiral Byrd in the 1940s and 50s did Project High Jump, the high land. And he said that there's land bigger than the United States past the South Pole. Wait a minute. Past the South Pole from where he was coming from would be in between Australia and Africa. I think somebody would notice land bigger than the United States, don't you?
So what are they hiding?
Right? More land, other civilization, more resources.
Are there different,
different
people there? Are there different cultures?
Well, so we could speculate all we want. I don't know. I don't know, but
there's nothing that's come out that people could find.
Well, there's lots of stuff in the book section here. If I go to the more land section, there's a bunch of books, and I'll run through a quick story for you. The Iron Republic, amazing, about a politician that got fed up in the 1800s, went to Antarctica, found an opening, was lost at sea, found land, lived there for 10 years with this other civilization, advanced civilization.
This is a fake story, or is this an actual person?
It's written as a real story, and it was written in Florida Magazine, which you can no longer find any
Okay, so what was the name of it? What's it called?
It's called The Iron Republic. You can actually get the book on Amazon, or just go on YouTube and search The Iron Republic. The Morgile is the name of the channel, and he read it. He did a great job narrating it. So if you have a long commute, it's a 5.5 hour video, and it's fascinating. Wow. Yeah. Worlds beyond the poles, right? The navigator across the ice wall. There's all sorts of stuff. But let me show you something that we found. And again, I'm not saying this proves anything, but you tell me what you think, right?
Yes.
You with me?
100%.
Okay. So this is not complicated. I just got to find my Antarctica folder. Where is it? Antarctica. There it is. And way down here. There we go. All right. So you can go on a ship tracking website and find cruise ships, cargo ships, and you can click on them and say, "Oh, this is going here." It gives you all the information, right? You know that ship. It's like a plane tracker.
This is new to me, but okay. Yeah.
Okay, just type up ship tracking, and you can find all the cargo ships in the world where they are and everything in real time. It's amazing, right? But we saw this ship here inside of Antarctica, 730 miles from the closest port. How does an active ship, it says it's a fishing ship, how does a ship get 730 miles in? And at 730 miles in, Google Earth says it's almost 2 miles above sea level. That's weird. And then we found another one. I'm zoomed out a little bit here. These are all the ships around the world. And there was one here, 905 miles, right? That's supposedly almost in the middle of Antarctica. Okay. So how is that possible? How is that possible? So this is a map that was found in a Buddhist temple. It's 10 centuries old. It was published in 1907, I think, in a Hawaiian newspaper. It shows our world. It shows the ring where Antarctica should be. And then it shows these other 30 or 40 continents outside in the outer space. We're looking down, right? Here's South America, right? Africa, Australia. What are these other continents, right? Every single culture before NASA had a flat earth biblical, flat earth cosmology. So we see that. And so we clicked on the ship, and it said very little information other than it was 850 meters long, 80 meters wide, which is a gigantic ship. And it said it was registered to the nation of Kiribati, and it had destination unknown. That's weird. So we're like, where is Kiribati? Have you ever heard of Kiribati? It's pronounced Kiribati, but it's Kiribati with a B. All right. And so we typed that into Google Earth, and it brings us into the middle of the South Pacific to a little sandbar. I had to put a pin on it so I could find it again. It's so tiny. And America, China, Vietnam, a bunch of countries say this is a very important trade route for us. Very important trade route. Like, why does a cargo ship need to stop at a tiny little sandbar? Why is it an important trade route? Right? And notice Kiribati, if you want to phonetically sound it out, because that comes into play in a minute. So, and then also just another thing, on Kiribati, there's a Captain Cook. Whoops. There's a Captain Cook bed and breakfast or hotel or whatever, or guest house. Well, if you know who Captain Cook is the last guy that tried to sail around Antarctica. Now, they tell us Antarctica is, a continent at the bottom of a ball, 10,000 miles around. And he took him 3.5 years to get around it, and he went over 68,000 miles. Wait a minute. If the equator is only 25,000 miles, how did he go 68,000 miles around a little continent, right? That doesn't make sense if you go back to the flat Earth map. Maybe he went all the way around the outside of our world, and that makes more sense. So that's weird. Doesn't prove anything, okay? So we then started looking at the ships that were actually at there. There was a whole bunch of ships going on their giant pier on this tiny little, barely habited island, and all of them had destination unknown or destination Christmas Island. If you look in all the stuff with Christmas and Santa and Satan, I don't know if it means anything. Some people say that Kiribati was called Christmas Island, but it's weird. Very little information. What are all these ships doing there? What are they picking up? Sand? I don't even think there's enough sand. Okay. The island is tiny. It's only a tiny bit of it's populated. And there was, in the past, there's been nuke testing there. Well, I don't know if you looked into the nuke hoax. Nukes are a joke. And whenever you see something with nukes, you should be more interested, because they're trying to hide something. They don't want people vacationing there. They don't want people going there and butting around, right? So what does this mean, right? So one more thing. When we started making, I'll show you that in a minute. Hold on. Where is it? All right. So on a ball, the ball is spinning, and wherever the sun is over, that's where it's noon. So we have 24 time zones. You draw 24 lines from the North Pole to the South Pole on a ball, sectioning it out like sections in an orange. And as it spins, whichever one's facing the sun, it's noon, right? That's your model, right? But there's this one time zone that at the international date line that does this crazy zigzag, right? It goes across 3.5 time zones. Like, that doesn't make any sense on a ball. And what's weird is in this little hook area, that's where Kiribati is. I don't know what that proves. It's just another point for weird. You with me? I haven't lost you, have I? Right? So the question is, where are those ships going? So here's that map again. What if the ships were going from Kiribati out here? If you took this map and wrapped it around a ball and took all of these outer lands and crunched them up to the bottom of the ball, they could say, oh, that's Antarctica. There's no pictures of Antarctica from space. There's none. They're all cartoons, right? So they're hiding all of this land. They're telling us, hey, Antarctica is a ball. No, Antarctica is a continent at the bottom of a ball, but you can't go there. Right? So let me show you how they hide it.
Who's they?
I'll hit that in a second. Let me just finish this little thing. We'll wrap this up and put a bow on it. So where is it? All right. So they take our map, they cut it out, and then they wrap it around a sphere, and they say, you can't explore this area. So now we're trapped in a prison. You can't explore there. You can get a guided tour to a little island near the shoreline. You know where they take you? 2 islands, Deception Island or Rothschild Island. That's where everyone goes.
What do you mean? That's actually what they're called?
That's what they're called, Deception Island and Rothschild Island.
Really?
I swear to God. Yes, absolutely. It's amazing. It's absolutely incredibly amazing. But you're not allowed to explore this area, right? They'll take you to a little base right here. There's a whole bunch of bases over here. There's bases all the way around here. But if you remember, if you undo this, there's bases all the way around the world, except there's actually one area where there are no bases. See this little inlet here? Oh, this little insert where it's narrow. There's no bases there whatsoever. So so what if those ships were going to those outer lands? Maybe they're trading tuna fish or computer chips or children, or
they couldn't get away with that though with that many people.
Technology.
Somebody would
How
rat.
would you know? You never even heard about Kiribati until this conversation.
That's a true story, but like, wouldn't somebody rat? I mean, people are fucking blabbermouths.
It's everything is very compartmentalized. There's people that work at NASA that don't know that NASA is completely full of it and complete and total nonsense. And here's something interesting. So we made these videos about Kiribati, and they started to go viral. And then they all of a sudden, when you search for Kiribati, it takes you to this island. Like, wait, the same search doesn't bring me to Kiribati. And watch where this island is compared to where Kiribati is. It's like halfway across the world. It brings you to that island. And then we go back to Kiribati, zoom in a little bit. It's no longer Kiribati, it's Karamati. That just happened last year.
Really?
Yeah.
Karamati.
Here's another Karamati. Weird. And when you search Kiribati, it doesn't take you there. No announcement, no nothing. Just happens to go with when these videos started going wild. You know about the Georgia Guidestones?
Yeah,
sure
I'm familiar with that shit.
Okay. So Georgia Guidestones, did you know that they were an astronomical clock also? There's a little hole in the center. When you look through it, you can see Polaris. There's Polaris. It never moves. We've looked. And when you go and you can do a time lapse, and you'll see the stars circling around, and Polaris never moves. Now, they tell us that the Earth is wobbling 1 degree every 76 years. Well, it was up for over 40 years, so it's at least a half a degree out. And a half a degree is like 1.5 moon widths. So the Polaris should not have been there anymore. It should have been way outside of that hole. And so we made videos about that. That went viral. And then all of a sudden, a terrorist blew up the Georgia Guidestones. 3 hours later, bulldozers were there, took everything away, stole the time capsule, no investigation.
That was a strange thing. All of a sudden, they just destroyed those things.
And it's just when our video about how this absolutely is rock solid proof, because there's a shaft in the Great Pyramid of Giza that points to Polaris, and the globalists go, well, it pointed towards Thuban, but the Earth has wobbled, and now it's pointing towards Polaris, and in 2,000 years, it's going to point towards a different star. Cool story, bro, right? But we just proved that the Earth is wobbling with Stonehenge, and they blew up Stonehenge. I mean, not Stonehenge, Georgia Guidestones. Stonehenge is fake.
So to me, it seems like if what you're saying is true, let's just assume that we know we're on a prison. Who is in charge of this? Who is controlling this? And why are they torturing us?
So again, as I said, it's a prison for your mind.
Not to cut you off, but I'm wondering also, the people that run the world, the so-called politicians, are they in on it?
Yeah. Some of them are, like Obama, he mentioned the Flat Earth Society half a dozen times in his speeches, because the Flat Earth Society is a government-run disinformation site that if you go there, you'll just laugh at Flat Earth and never look again. So, the fact that he mentioned that, and all the major politicians all go to Antarctica, disappear for a couple of days, never say what they were doing there. I think that the real rulers of this world are, living in the lands beyond Antarctica or within Antarctica.
Okay, so I cut you off. So who's really controlling the world? Like, what's going on in your mind?
So the higher up you go, you always find that there's somebody above them. So the highest up that we can really go are the Council of Foreign Relations, the United Nations, the Bilderberg Group, the Club of Rome, the Royal Institute of International Affairs, and the Trilateral Commission. This is what we call the Round Table. These are the unelected officials that make all of our policy, run all the corporations, and the corporations run the government, if you didn't know that. All right? And so those are the people, but they all report to something in Antarctica. We have Army military whistleblowers that said this one guy is 94 years old, and he said he can only tell us a little bit because he has a non-disclosure until he's 100. Great. And he said that there's cities of millions of people in Antarctica that aren't allowed to. They're not allowed to communicate with the people in the inner world. Like a whole nother civilization.
Why would they? I mean, obviously they're always up to no good.
It's all about control. Listen. You know, we think we have freedom. You need a passport. You got to renew your passport.
I don't believe that, but I know what you're saying.
Okay, well,
people do believe that.
Yeah, but we're supposed to. Our God, we should have the freedom to travel. We don't, you know, this whole thing where we allow the government to make these rules. What if we all ignored the government? What if everyone woke up? Here's the thing: if everyone watched this podcast and goes, "Oh my God, the Earth is flat," Dave is right. Then all of a sudden they start ignoring the government, which Larkin always says. Or would want. And if everyone ignored the government, what power would the government have? If everyone together ignored the government, every single person, the government would be like a flea on your ass. You could just smack it and it's gone.
Yeah, that would be wonderful. That'd be a wonderful day.
So what's in Antarctica? We can speculate all we want. You know, I think maybe it's the fallen angels. Maybe the Nephilim are there. You know, who knows? But until we have free and independent exploration of the North and the South, because what's in the North, they're hiding that also, right? The North could be the Garden of Eden. You know, that's supposedly, you know, the North Polaris, you know, they say that's where God's throne is. We don't know what's in the North, but there's lots of stories from the North that we don't really get to hear about.
What's the best story you've heard?
One of them is some ships that went there in, you know, in the early 1900s, the late 1800s, they said they got to a part where the water got warmer and warmer, and then all of a sudden the ship started creaking and the nails started getting pulled out of the ship towards a strong magnetic force. Everything that was metal started flying off the ship towards the center. There's also the old maps. Do I have the maps? That show that there's 4 continents there with 4 rivers. And now, you know, when I was a kid, the Arctic was frozen Iceland, right? Before that, it was these 4 rivers.
Well, we know this, that supposedly the governments of the world hate each other and they're constantly fighting. But there's one thing they can agree upon, is this Antarctic deal that they have, right?
That nobody can go to the North Pole, nobody can independently explore the South Pole.
And they all agree upon it.
Yeah. I have to add
so
that
can
back.
we go? Let's go. Me and you. Can we sneak away up there?
We can't just. Even if we could sneak, even if they say, "Yeah, go ahead." Right? You need like millions of dollars worth of equipment.
Why can't me and you just get a ship and put some money together and do it? We could do it, man.
Where are we going to go? We're going to get to Antarctica. It's crazy waters down there. Ice. We're going to get there. There's going to be a 200-foot high cliff of ice. Then we get on top of that ice. Where we go?
I don't know.
How we go?
We got to figure out what's out there, right?
You have snowmobiles. Yeah, but the only effective way to explore Antarctica is with airships, right? Have you looked into the old world at all? Wow.
What is it?
Wow. Okay. The old world. So on my app right here, this button, which is
how do people
like a
get
dragon.
Your app,
It's flatearthdave.com.
Okay. It looks like a great app.
There's a big link at the top.
Really cool.
It's an amazing app. It's an amazing app, and it bypasses Google censorship. I
appreciate you showing it to us. It's awesome, man. Good job. Good work. You did a lot of great work on that. That's, you know, but if you agree or disagree, it's still an amazing app, man. It's really well done. Yeah.
Thank you. So on the Tataria Old World page, there's all sorts of channels that you'll never find on your own, right? Unless somebody tells you about them. And my favorite one is called My Lunch Break. It's amazing. This guy puts out a video every week, 1 or 2 videos, and basically he's like looking at old buildings and telling you the official story and looking at it, and none of it makes any sense. Wait until you find out about the Hoover Dam. It's a lie. Everything is a lie. The Grand Canyon is Egypt. Okay,
it's crazy.
It's and by the way, if you go to this page and to start watching like some of my lunch break, you're gonna walk out in your hometown that you lived in your whole life, and you're gonna look around and you're gonna go, how did I ever miss this?
So Tartaria is real. That was a real thing, or what was it?
Well, I don't know, whatever you want to call it. I just call it the old world because some people say Tataria, maybe only some of it, whatever. It's the old world, and it's here in every town.
Why did it get destroyed? How did it get destroyed? What happened?
Because there was some downfall where evil God, I don't know who did it, but they basically took over and destroyed the old world. There was a reset in probably the mid 1700s.
1700s, not that long ago.
Yeah. Not that long ago. Remember the gold rush? It wasn't the gold rush. It was the Freemason rush, finding all of these buildings out there, right? we were taught in school, Lewis and Clark crossed the Mississippi to find a trade route out to the west. But when they got there, San Francisco was fully built, right? All these cities were already there in their magnificence, right? Then we had these world fairs, and then they destroyed everything, right? When I was growing up, the Bronx was like a war zone because it was a war zone. Just put in your city and type in Great Fire, and you'll find out, we were talking about everyone's thought about the Chicago Great Fire where the cow tipped over the lantern and burned the whole city down. Bullshit. Every city had great fires at the same time, and that's literally when they destroyed the old world. In Egypt,
this happened in the 1700s, in your opinion. They burned everything down in the 1700s. And who's they?
They are the
demons.
The demons, whoever they are. I don't know who they are, right? I'm not gonna make claims that I can't substantiate. But the evidence, when we look at these buildings that we can't even rebuild today, and they did it, with their horse and donkey, donkeys and carts and chisels, where we couldn't do it with friggin' lasers today. So
you do look at the infrastructure, not to cut you off, to today, and everything is built for money. It's like, everything is they have this specific, the Taco Bell, the McDonald's, all this shit. Everything is built for commerce. It used to be built as a gift to God, as a testament to humanity and God.
They hate God. They hate God, and they're hiding God, and they want everybody living in this material world. And literally, these demons, these people, I'll say that are running this world, they've lost their ability to manifest, and they're using our emotions, our endocrine system. They're controlling us, right? I just released a film. It was some stuff with about the AI and the nanotech in our blood now. Whether you're a pincushion or not, it's in your blood, and you need to get rid of it. And they're literally controlling people's minds. But one great video, if I just type in Yankee, I have a video search here, which is it just searches the good videos and gets rid of all the crap. This is in my app in the video search, and it just type in Yankee Stadium, and it's literally a video, a guy using AI to talk about the construction of Yankee Stadium. It makes absolutely no sense. It's the funniest video ever. It's like 10 minutes long. Highly worth the watch.
What's he trying to say?
All right. He's saying that they barely had gas powered trucks back then. It would have Yankee Stadium was built in less than a year, and it would have taken if all of the materials were just 10 miles away. It would have taken like 3 years to get them there. Gotcha. Okay, let alone and they built this and all the craftsmanship and all the undergrounds and everything. None of it makes any sense whatsoever, and it got AI to admit that it was wrong.
Oh, by the way,
that it's impossible.
Well, I'm going to tell you about AI. Have you heard Legal Man?
Yeah.
You heard of the Quash at all?
No.
Okay. Well,
tell me.
I'm going to make a video of this. He did a podcast where he cross-examines ChatGPT. It is. I'm requiring my daughter to watch this because he gets that thing to admit that its entire existence is to defend the what do they call everything that they what's the word I'm looking for
the mainstream
the mainstream
narrative,
the mainstream narrative, that's what I'm thinking about. Every single area, it's there to defend the mainstream narrative. It goes over, dude. Right. It admits World War II, the Civil War. Like, it's insane. You have to listen to that podcast.
I have a whole series. If you go to my website, flatearthdave.com, and all my YouTube links are there. I have a channel, DITRH, stands for Deep Inside the Rabbit Hole. And I have a whole series, maybe 10 videos now, of me cornering AI, admitting that the flat Earth makes way more sense than the globe Earth, and the globe Earth is impossible.
That's great, yeah.
It's fantastic. It's really fun. There's also a link directly on the app in the more resources section, just the DITRH link. But the app, by the way, the app will educate you and help wake up others. It does so many more things than I'm even telling you here.
It's a great app. Looks like a great app just in general. I love it. It's really well done.
Check this out. Globers will say, you have no proof. And so if I click this button right here, which is the flashcards, right? I have over 225, I think it's 225 now, flashcards. So this one is ancient civilization astroarchaeology. So there's all these buildings that were built at all different times through history that line up with the sun and the stars. They line up on specific days, right? And the argument is, well, it used to line up with a different star, or they built it so it would line up in 2025 in our century, in our timeline, right? So all of these buildings that were built over thousands of years, they all said, "Oh, we're going to build buildings that won't line up until the 2020s." All right? It's so stupid. And so each card, if the info link shows up, that'll take you to a video about it. But basically, you can just go from card to card.
What a great app! Yeah, it's
and
great. Regardless of what you believe, it's a great app. Yeah.
Yeah, the Antarctic Treaty, you want to learn about it, click the button there. I can also click the share button. I can send it, to anybody in any way. So when people say there's no flat earth proofs, just start peppering them with
so what's
these
the
these
number
cards.
one thing that if to Globers you could say to them? What's the number one piece of evidence that you have that proves flat earth?
Well, there's nothing you can say to a Glober, but I'll tell you that the number one thing for me is water always lies flat at rest. That's not one. The other one right up there with it is gas needs to be contained. Hey, I'm inviting you over for a barbecue. I need you to bring some propane, but I hate containers. Can you just bring it by itself?
How does that help flat earth?
Because we live on a ball that has air, high pressure air on the outside of it, adjacent to a void of vacuum of space, a Tor 17 vacuum, which we can't even create here on Earth, right? And so the Globers will say, well, gravity is holding that air down. Gravity is holding the air down, and it gets thinner and thinner and thinner and thinner and thinner and thinner and thinner until it's nothing. Bullshit. Because I could take a box, suck all the air out of it, and at any place, at any altitude, I'll poke a hole in that box, and it'll suck all the air right in. It'll suck all the air right in. Or if I had a box of air and I brought it into a vacuum, like this room had no air in it, and I poke a hole top, bottom, or side, it's instantly and violently going to fill the room. Why doesn't all the air on Earth violently fill the outer space? There's no answer for that. There's no answer, right? And and people say, well, gravity. Well, which gravity? Einsteinian gravity or Newtonian gravity? Newtonian gravity is mass attracting mass. Remember the apple fell on his head? Good thing it didn't roll down the hill and fall into the pond and float, and then a kid lets go of a helium balloon, because I think Newton might have gotten confused if that happened, right? So mass attracting mass, but they got rid of that, and now it's Einsteinian gravity, which is the bending and warping of space-time. You've heard that term, right? Do you know what that means?
No.
Yeah, nobody does. It's actually the bending and warping of your mind, right? It's just a bunch of nonsense that makes you just give up and defer your authority to the professionals, the ones that have their degree.
Yeah, I just like I said, I'm open-minded to it, and you're an intelligent guy, and you put a lot of energy into this, and so I know that you're serious and you believe it. So I'd be an idiot not to listen to what you have to say. You know what I mean?
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing. You can believe the Earth is a globe. As I said before, it takes zero effort. Or you can take the time, clear your head, look at the evidence, right? Here, let's talk about gravity for a second. Walter Lewin from MIT, great professor, says it's electrical forces that hold our world together. Electrical forces. Okay, that's interesting. So we know that the Earth has a neutral or negative charge, and then anything above the Earth has a positive charge. Negative and positive attract. You remember that from science, right? So here's some leftover party helium balloons, and we got this button, and it's just floating about 2 inches off the floor, and that wire goes to what's called a Van der Graaf generator, and we're going to add a positive charge, a higher positive charge to this button. So we're adding the charge. Now the Earth doesn't move, so that positive charge, the negative Earth, is attracting it down. And then when we discharge it, it goes back up. Now, did we change gravity, or did we change the electrical charge? Here's the opposite. We add a negative charge into this. It goes up. I'll turn it off, turn it on, right? And it stays on So did we change gravity, or are we playing with the electrical force? This is, again, MIT. They have a thing called the silent drone. There's no moving parts on this. It's just changing its electrical charge, and it's floating. You know, the triangle aircraft, that XRT-3B, I think it's called. It's public information now that it lifts itself and propels itself with electrostatics. Now, electrostatics, we can just test it. We can measure it. We can do the scientific experiment. That's what we did with those balloons and the tinfoil. And we can show you that we can manipulate it. There's no test for gravity. Gravity is just a theory that's 96% wrong, right? That's why they made up dark matter and dark energy. They're like, well, you know, there's not enough matter in the universe, and there's 96% of it's missing for our whole model to work. And so scientists go, well, there must be dark matter and dark energy. It's invisible. Therefore, everything works. So if you lent me $100 yesterday, and today I pay you back $4 and say we're even, you go, whoa. Where's the other 96? I go, don't worry, they're dark dollars. Trust me, bro, they're there. Okay? That's what gravity is. So they tell us the electrostatic potential is 10 to the 36 stronger than gravity. 10 to the 36. Let me just help you understand what that number is, because I don't understand what it is, right? Do you know how long 1 trillion seconds is?
No.
How long do you think 1 trillion seconds is? Want to take a guess?
No.
If you guess it within 2 days, I'll give you a Bitcoin. Let's take a wild guess. What do you got to lose? Nothing.
A trillion?
1 trillion seconds. How long? How many days? How long is that?
Trillion seconds.
Any measurement you want. Yeah. You're Googling, no Googling. 5 seconds. Bets off the table.
I'm done.
31,000 years.
Okay.
1 trillion seconds is 31,000 years. A trillion is 12 zeros. Okay? They say gravity, that electrostatic force, is 36 zeros stronger than gravity. So if it was a trillion times, I have to times 1,000, times 1,000, times 1,000. That's 18 zeros. I got to get all the way to 36 by multiplying times 1,000. That means gravity is zero. They're telling us that gravity is bullshit.
So what is keeping things down?
So the electrostatic force is down is this way. It's a weak force. It is. Down is this way. And then buoyancy and density. This ball is denser than the air, so it goes down. Oh, I dropped it. Right? The helium balloon is less dense and it goes up. That button with the helium balloons was neutral, but we added a little more charge to it, and it went down because it's attracted to the ground. So when lightning strikes sometimes, you ever see things go flying, people go flying, because it's changing the electric potential of the ground for a split second, and boom, things go flying. On 9/11, a lot of cars flipped over, trucks flipped over. Like, what was going on there? There's something electrostatically going on.
What was going on?
Oh, that's a whole nother rabbit hole, man. StopLookThink.com. Go to the 9/11 section, and that'll blow your mind.
All right, well.
StopLookThink.com.
Jim, this is a different kind of podcast. I didn't ask you about your childhood or anything.
Well, let's go down. Let's get off the flat earth. Ask me anything you want. I'm down.
Where are you
and then we
born
can wrap
and
it up. I was born and raised in Connecticut.
And you still live there now?
I'm still there now. Yeah, I moved like 10 times within like 5 miles.
So what was your childhood like? Like, how did you end up like this? And how did you end up telling the truth? And by the way, I didn't mean that in any way negative.
How dare you?
No.
How dare
I
you?
mean, I think it's great
right.
what you are. I'm loving it. Yeah,
You know,
I find you fascinating.
Here's something. Here's something funny. One of my earliest school memories was it was either kindergarten or first grade. The teacher brings us out to the playground. He's got a bucket on water. Right, we're learning about the moon and the sun and the earth and the orbits. Right, and he takes a bucket of water and swings it around and says, "That's gravity."
Okay.
And I said, but if the earth is a globe and all the water's on the outside, wouldn't you have to turn the bucket the other way? And the teacher goes like this. And he goes over to the book and he opens it up and there's all these highlights, like all different color highlights and stickers and everything. I'm like, wow, how many teachers have used this book? As a little kid, I'm seeing that. And he goes, and he reads me the paragraph. He goes, this is how they tell me to teach it. So that's how I'm going to teach it.
He said that.
And I was like, that's what he said to me as a little kid. And then I went and played on the swing. I specifically remember going to play on the swing after he told me that. Right. And maybe that's what broke my mind. I was like, wait a minute, people are just teaching bullshit. And so my whole life, I went to school, college, graduated, went into corporate America, worked my way through corporate America, my own business. And life was good. And I was doing a podcast out of New York City.
Why are we doing a podcast?
New York City.
What do you mean?
So I was working for a solar company with my friend Tim, and we were both in sales. And every day at lunch in the lunchroom, we would be talking about the Federal Reserve, the IRS, you know, and just conspiracy stuff, because we were just talking about conspiracy stuff, because we were like researching, deceptions of this world, and every day more and more people started gathering around. Like literally, we had a crowd of like 20 people hearing what we were going to do. And one day, Tim calls me up and says, "Hey, Dave, I have a way that we can reach more people with our information. We can do a podcast. There's a podcast studio open up in New York." And I said, "What's a podcast?" He's like, "It's like a radio show, but it's recorded." I'm like, "Okay, sounds good." And so we started this podcast called Deep Inside the Rabbit Hole out of New York City Comedy Club. And the object was, it had to have an element of humor in it. So we had two truth seekers and then a comedian that tried to turn everything into a fart
comedy
joke.
club were you?
And
where were you?
It was the New York City Comedy Club on the Upper West Side, 79th.
So you live in you're living in New York at this time?
No, I live in Connecticut. I live like 45 minutes from the city.
People don't know that
45
people
minutes
live,
from
a
the
lot of
city.
people live in Connecticut that get work in New York.
Yeah, a lot of people. It's a big Wall Street town where I live in, and so we started doing that, and the podcast went really viral. When it was great, and then in the third year of the podcast, people started, as I was telling you earlier, people started saying, "Hey, Dave, have you looked into flat Earth?" And I was like, "That's just one step too far." Right? It was weird looking into all conspiracies, but I wouldn't look into flat Earth. Then I was forced. Then I looked, and then I didn't want to talk about it. I said, "You know what? We're going to lose all of our listeners." And then after like 2 days of thinking about that, I'm like, I got to talk about it. It's the truth. And then the podcast kind of blew up after that. And so I did it.
It blew up. It went away, or it blew.
No, it went away. It was 3 years, and I was kind of getting burnt out on it. And my co-host, one of them, the comedian, he just couldn't handle flat Earth. And I had another friend that I met at a conference. He's like, "Hey, Dave, there's no podcast about flat Earth. There's tons of videos, YouTube and stuff." And we started a podcast called the Flat Earth Podcast.
And what do you do for
fantastic.
money? You're a stockbroker or something?
No. So I was in the commercial printing business for like 20 years. I don't know what that means. And then I got into the solar power business.
You're a big money man? You're a money man kind of guy?
Listen, I was doing better than I ever thought I would. Okay. Right. So I was in the commercial solar power development, and then I was doing this podcast on the side, and the truth was kind of getting in the way of my work, and it was causing a little conflict. I had one partner who couldn't give a shit. He was cool. And the other one was getting a little pissed because I was literally going after some lawyer firms that were involved in some of these hoaxes and false flags, and they were the same lawyers that represent some of our clients. It was truly a conflict, and I had to make a choice, and I said, hey, everything I've worked my entire life for, we're go to school, go to college, get a job, work your way up. I not only worked my way up to be number one in a company, I left the company and started my own company. I did everything. And I was the CEO of my own company, and I walked away from it all because I realized that the world is going to hell. And if somebody doesn't do something about it, if enough of us don't do something about it, there's going to be nothing left to work for. And so I literally walked away from a decent 6-figure salary to just having enough money to pay my bills.
At least you got that.
Well, I looked at it as I was considering leaving my business and everything in my body. I'd like, thank God my father had passed away, a few years earlier. And I'd be like, he would like, are you out of your friggin' mind? And probably would have influenced me not to do it. But I was thinking of doing it. And I asked God for a couple signs, got 2 crazy signs. And then I was having a conversation with Owen Benjamin. I don't know if you know who he is. And he's like, Dave, just do it. Just do it. And so I went home to pay my bills that night. It was like the first of the month or whatever. And my money had just come in from Apple for the app, which was pretty new at its time. And when I was done paying my bills, I had $1 left. Okay, it literally covered my bills to $1.
World.
And I was like, you know what? If I leave and I start doing interviews, I'll sell more apps. So here's the thing. Here's the thing, though. This is the first time in my life where I'm not doing it for money. Right? Everything I did in my life was to make as much money as I can and gather as many things as I can. That is not my goal. My goal is to help humanity find their true origins and live to their full potential. It has nothing to do with money.
So we're enslaved, and what is our true potential?
And our true potential is that we're literally living gods here on Earth. Right? We're the only ones that can create with our minds and build things from nothing. Right? There's no other beings that can, or that we see, no other animals. We are here we are all, the way I see it is we are all little pieces of God. And we're here experiencing this realm, that we're eternal beings having this physical experience. And this place got kind of hijacked. And but the good news is we chose to be here during this time and to have this experience. And if you understand how this place works, and if you understand that nobody is above you, the government wants to be above you and eliminate God. They want to be God, right? Nobody is above you but God. The government, I don't even know if I'll let them below me. I don't want to pay any attention to them.
I'm with
you.
Yes.
So, yeah. So, once you understand what this place, people go, what difference does it make? I still have to go to work on Monday and I'm only one person. There's nothing I can do. That's the psyop. That's the psyop. The psyop is that you can't do anything about it. One person awake, disconnecting, knowing how this, commerce works and everything. You don't have to agree to anything they do. You don't have to do any of it, right? None of it. All of the stuff that they do to you is you've consented to it. You've totally consented to it.
So what's the solution?
So I used to have a thing called Exposing the Big Three. It was, the day after September 10th, the Beachy School in Connecticut and the Boston Marathon. And I say, wake people up to that. They're going to wake up and see that the world is not what they say it is. But people just go right back to sleep after seeing those three clearly faked events. And then Flat Earth came in, and I realized once you see the Earth is flat, if you're willing to look, you will never have a moment in your life where you're not thinking about it again. And when you understand what Flat Earth is, it affects you every day. It puts you at the center of creation. It makes you more powerful, right? If you live on a spinning ball, you're spinning, whirling, and twirling through space in 4 different directions at once, like this, and you're insignificant. But on a flat Earth, you are at the center of creation. You're grounded. God is close. You are powerful. There's unlimited resources. We're not overpopulated. We're not running out of fuel. There's free energy. There's all of this stuff that they're hiding from us. And so the solution is, once you see this, you can take your power back. My life is fantastic. I love my life, right? I work harder than I've ever worked before, but I'm doing what I love. Like if I had a regular job, I'd be doing this in my spare time. This is my job right now, talking to people like you, helping others see, giving them a tool to help them see the truth. I don't want anyone to believe anything I say, right? You need to go verify. On the app, there's a more resources section. By the way, if you long press any button, it tells you what that button does. So anyone that has the app, you're trying to figure it out, just learn the buttons. But the more resources button, scroll down a little bit, there's a thing called experiments. We did all the experiments for you, all the lasers, all the mirror flashes, everything, documented them, watch them. You don't have to believe them. You can see that we documented everything clearly, but then go out and do it yourself. All right. But each one of these videos by itself, Google is hiding them, and it'll show you that the Earth is not a ball. And, if there's more land, more resources, more knowledge, I want to know about it. They have us literally as little babies stuck in a pen thinking that there's nothing else. Entertainment, right? Like your movie, Barnum World. Everybody watch Barnum World. Where can they watch it? Link it below this video, okay?
Yes.
You link it? Barnum World? All right. So Barnum World really makes you think and see through the deception, right? But then other things like, occasionally I'll watch a mainstream thing like Breaking Bad. You ever watch Breaking Bad? Great. It was a great series, right? It was really good. But what is that? Entertainment. It's containing your mind. It's literally taking your manifestation skills and focusing them on something that doesn't matter. So when you watch Breaking Bad, you're thinking about it, you're dreaming about it, and you're wasting all of that energy. You're wasting all of that potential when you could be creating and manifesting other things, when you could be helping others, right? Now, listen, I do enjoy a little bit of entertainment, but you got to find that balance. And you have to understand that your life is your fault. Everything about it.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I love it. I'm so glad did you exist. Yeah.
Do you meditate?
Yes.
Do you meditate? Okay. Do you ever have problems meditating where your mind's like going all over the place? Of course, right? And so when you're meditating and you realize your monkey mind all over the place and you realize it, do you get pissed off?
I used to. I don't anymore.
Yeah, but you shouldn't. That's a success. When you notice that you're monkey minding, you go, I noticed. I go back to my breath again. So every time you see something or experience something that's not what you want, you should be like, oh my God, this is fantastic. I hate that. I'm going that way. Okay? Right? But other people like Globers, oh, I hate you flat earthers. I'm going to stay on this video and comment on everyone's comment for the next 2 weeks. I'm going to go into every live you guys do, and I'm going to throw up the same stupid arguments that you guys have debunked 1,000 times before. Like, who does that?
Yeah.
Who does that?
Dave. Professor Dave.
Possessed. The thing is, we need to focus our energy. Like when someone's down and depressed, they're down, they're low, right? Don't lower yourself down to them. Help them come up to you.
Fair enough, yeah.
Yeah. Help them. Don't feel sorry for somebody. Set an example for them how to help themselves, right? How to lift themselves up.
Yeah. Fair enough.
That's how I see it.
just
That's
feel
how
like I don't know. Yeah, I'm with you. It's just there's certain people out there like
Professor
Dave.
Dave.
Who just really are anti-human for their own personal gain.
No, they are. All of these Globers are atheists. They're all atheists. I mean, do you believe in a creator? Don't have to get specific.
Oh, we can get specific. Yes, I believe in God.
Okay, that's it. Here's the thing. I used to watch these conspiracy, podcasts, whatever, and I'd like, this is great. I got 3 pages of notes and everything. I'm listening, and all of a sudden they're like, hey, let's pray, or let's they quote the Bible. I'm like, oh my God, these are religious fanatics. Tear up, unsubscribe, and never listen again. That was me. And guess what? A lot of the world is that way. So I found my calling, right? Maybe it's my God calling. I feel it's my calling, is to help people find flat earth, because there are no flat earth atheists, because the flat earth is an intelligently created place. So when I discovered flat earth, I was like, holy crap, there's a creator. That changed everything, because I was, I'll tell you a story about how I just discounted the Bible as a kid for 40 years because of just one experience I had. And it's by design, but my job is to help people find that there's a creator, and that's where I draw the line. You got to find out your relationship with the creator from there forward, because all of the people are like, you got to accept Jesus or you're going to hell. That's what kept me away, right? That's what kept me. Once you understand, there's a verse in the Bible and the Quran and everywhere else that says, once you see my creation, you can no longer deny my existence. Once you see the intelligent design of the earth, you can no longer deny my existence. And that's what the globalists don't want. They don't want you in a position where you can't deny creation. They want you in doubt. They want you in fear. They want you in low vibration. They want you living in lack.
Yeah.
And but once you understand, like, I don't believe there's a creator. I know there's a creator. I don't believe the earth is a level, horizontal, topographical, non-rotating plane. I know it is. Right? Do I know all the answers for it? Do I know what the moon is? Do I know how we can see Polaris 433 light years away? I know that we can't see Polaris at a light day away, or a light month away, right? And so I know that they're lying about all of these things. I know that the moon and the sun are at the same focal length. How can I focus on the moon and then focus on the sun without changing the focus and have it be in focus unless they're the same distance? They're the same size, Well, they tell us the sun is 400 times bigger and 400 times farther. Well, I think I'd have to focus out a little bit to bring the sun into focus, but I don't. And when I go to a planet, it's also at the same focus, right? There are endless proofs. Here's the thing. If you're not a flat earther, get my app. It's $3. Don't even subscribe. You don't need to subscribe, right? The $11 a year. By the way, you can get that if you recommend the app to some people, you get it for free. Every day there's a daily video. While you're having your coffee or tea or whatever, just watch the daily video, right? And when you're done with that video, feel free to watch the next video.
What's the daily video?
It is not a... The daily video is just different videos, just different proofs. They're all different stuff. Today is a compilation, a TikTok compilation. It's just 5 or 10 or 20 minutes, depending, of really interesting flat Earth proofs. Something to think about, and then just watch it every day for a couple of weeks, and I guarantee you will be a non-glober within 2 weeks, guaranteed. But the problem is, if you refuse to watch, if you turn off the comments on your challenge to flat earthers not being able to answer anything, then you will never see the truth. You can live in your globular cartoon ball world and and live in a limited hangout. The globe is a limited hangout.
Interesting.
It's fascinating is what it is.
It's...
And once you see it, look, by the way, the word board doesn't exist. Flat earthers don't even understand what the word board is. There's never. I said to God, I need a sign. I need more time. I don't have enough time. I need more time to research. And literally the next day I had insomnia. I don't go to sleep until like midnight and I get up at like 4. Okay. I have like 5 extra six hours during the day now. It's fantastic.
That's interesting.
Careful what you ask for. Careful what you ask for, because here's the biggest thing: the conspiracy, the universe, the uni one verse. God spoke the world into existence. The realm that we live in is conspiring to give you every single thought that you're thinking. Thinking bad thoughts, you're attracting bad shit. Watch a horror movie. You're attracting horror into your life. Thinking positive thoughts, people are like, well, I want $1 million. And when you say that, what are you saying? I don't have $1 million. I'll never have $1 million. I'll live paycheck to paycheck and I'll die broke. That's what you're saying if you say I want $1 million. Nobody wants $1 million. Do you want $1 million? Is that what you want?
Me?
Yeah.
I'll take it.
Well, of course you would take it, of course. But what do you really want? You want what you think $1 million would bring to you. You want happiness.
I want
you
to
want
make my
love.
next
You
film,
want security.
That's what I want to.
You want to make your next film, right? So it's not the money. You want to be able to help wake people up. You want to. So you need to focus on those feelings, the things that you want: security, comfort, whatever you want to. And don't focus on the money. The money will just fill in, right? But if you focus on the money, you're focusing on the lack. You have to focus, they say don't put the cart in front of the horse. I say put the feeling in front of the accomplishment. Like, how do you feel when you accomplish something? Well, focus on that feeling and then the accomplishment will come. This world, everything is backwards. Everything's backwards. Like for Barnum World, you had the vision, you got focused on it, you pulled it together and it got completed because you were focused, right? You were in that zone and you got it done, right? Your new film, you having that same feeling? You got that same momentum? Or you're like, I wish I could get it done. It's going to cost too much.
I'm pretty negative about it. I won't lie.
You're pretty negative.
I need a couple $1 million for it, for sure.
You need a couple $1 million. So again, it seems that's like when you say a couple $1 million, it's like, wow,
yeah, it feels impossible.
That's overwhelming. Yeah, it feels impossible. But you gotta focus on how would it feel if you were in full production right now. How would that feel? You got to whoosh all over your body. Try to meditate on that feeling. Don't worry about the how, because the universe, the realm will figure out the how. The how is not your problem.
Interesting.
It sounds crazy, but it works. You know about manifestation boards, right? You put stuff on boards and now they have computer programs and stuff. And so for years and years and years, I've heard about it. I was like, you know what? I'm going to do one. And this is when I worked at the solar company. Was it solar company? Yeah. And so I put this board together and I said, I want my own company. I want tons of free time. I want to do what I love. I want to sell something that doesn't take financing, that you don't have to get financing for $3, right? I want to be I want I put a whole bunch of things that I wanted, and the last thing I want to be the CEO of my own company, and I giggled because I didn't even know what a CEO was at that time. I think I want to be the CEO of my own company. So I put this board up, and I put the pictures on it, and I looked at it every day. And after a year or two, it ended up in another room, and then it ended up in the closet. But I still thought about it and everything. And about 5 years later, I had my own solar company with my two partners, and there was it was the end of the month, and I'm there closing out some jobs, closing out the numbers, figuring out where all the money's going, and I giggled. I was like, "Wait a minute, I'm the CEO of my own company. I didn't even know it, right? I didn't even know it." And then I went back and I looked at my board, and every single thing on that board was true in my life because I didn't think. Like, I can't do this. How's this going to happen? I didn't worry about it. I focused on the feeling. And the feeling is, feelings are how you manifest. That's how I see it. Call me crazy, but I couldn't be happier.
If it works, it works.
It does work.
I mean, you're like the world's preeminent flat Earth guy now. I mean, you really are. I mean, when you think about flat Earth, you come up.
Well, that's because I figured out how to break the algorithm. One is, instead of just putting everything on my channel, I go on everyone else's channel. So it's everywhere. So now if you actually search Flat Earth Dave, besides the Professor Dave video comes up, a lot of my stuff comes up. My channel comes up. They're going to change that because they didn't used to do that. But I think I broke the algorithm a little bit. That's why I tell people, just go to flatearthdave.com. Subscribe to all my socials. I'm on X, Flat Earth Dave X. Everywhere, but everything is linked at flatearthdave.com. So all you have to remember is flatearthdave.com. Go there, subscribe to all my channels. My YouTube channel, DITRH, Deep Inside the Rabbit Hole. It's all short videos. Just start watching them. Watch the daily video on the app.
Dave on
Check
YouTube?
out the FAQ. I am Flat Earth Dave on YouTube. Well, I don't think that it's Flat Earth Dave Weiss. Might be. I have several channels. There's an interviews channel.
Okay.
There's So there's
Deep Inside the Rabbit Hole.
There's different channels.
I'll put all these links in the show notes for the delay of the audience.
No, don't put any links other than flatearthdave.com. That's the only link. When people say, "Oh, this is my X, and this is my Twitter, and this is my Instagram," nobody remembers anything. All you have to remember is flatearthdave.com. All the links are there. Just go there, click the links, check out the app, check out the crash. Go halfway down. It says Crash Course, and there's a list of videos that are all hidden on YouTube. They're all documentaries. Just start watching them. They're mind-blowing. They're great. Turn off Netflix forever and just start watching those videos, and your life will change. There's also on here a biblical section. You click the Bible, and there's all amazing biblical stuff. This girl here, K-Pod, she's absolutely amazing. She's on TikTok. Mind-blowing stuff. This biblical flat earth list here is great. This guy did a whole series, a preacher. This another guy, he's on TikTok, or not sure where he is, but he's another awesome stuff, and more stuff being added all the time.
Okay, right on, brother. Thank you.
Yeah.
Peace.
Thanks. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you,
Joe.
man. Thanks for coming on.
All right.
Bye.
All right. See you. Thanks.
Okay, that's it. I hope you enjoyed the show. You can follow me on Twitter if you want at Tregsman with 2 G's and an S, or you can subscribe to our YouTube channel at Drew Media TV. We also have a Rumble channel, Drew Media, if you prefer there. I know a lot of people don't like YouTube. Also, if you're listening to the podcast, like on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or whatever, if it's not too much of a pain and you like the show, give it 5 stars so we can get some help from the algorithm. Otherwise, all the other links to our social media will be in the show notes, and we'll see you next week. Thank you.